So the folks at Godot have recently put out a statement that has to do with the changes to the contribution policy. Now, for those who have no idea, Godot is a free open source game engine that is used in creating 2D and 3D games, mobile apps, desktop applications, and even web games. Godot is more like what you can consider as a toolkit that provides everything you need to build interactive software without having to write a graphic engine from scratch. And we've actually talked about a couple of tools that you possibly didn't know was being powered by Godot. Tools from the folks at Spatial that deals with Uniform, Cozy Blanket, and so on are simply powered by Godot. And unlike many commercial engines, it is worth mentioning that Godot has been developed by a global community under the Godot Foundation, pretty similar with what you have with Blender Foundation. And it is currently open source like we mentioned earlier and has the permissive MIT license. And that means they can simply use Godot for, personal and commercial projects without paying royalties or licensing fees. And with that in mind, of course, for those who like to learn Godot, you can simply go over to some of the resources that I've provided previously and get started with it. Now, with that being said, the Godot Foundation are making changes to their contribution policies. And this reads as follows. Over the last several years, we've become overwhelmed by the large number of code contributions, which are known as pull requests, especially those from new contributors. The number of pull requests has become a meme in the community. In part, the number of open pull requests is a healthy sign that people are interested in contributing to Godot and are willing to put in time to contribute. It also means that we are being cautious about feature creep. We are dedicated to high quality code, but ultimately, a large part of the backlog comes from the fact that the number of qualified reviewers is small. Reviewing pull requests is demanding and we can't keep up with everything coming in. This problem is compounded by the recent increase in AI-generated contributions, both by AI agents and humans submitting AI-generated code. The maker pull request has gone down and the number of pull requests has increased as a result. Now, while the amount of work to review pull requests and the amount of people available to review has stayed the same, this reviewer shortage was already a problem, but it was one that we successfully ignored. We can no longer ignore it. And this is where the whole talk about AI comes in, as I continue to say that AI contributions have the added pain of being demoralizing. Reviewing pull requests is already tedious work, but it's rewarding because reviewers generally feel that their efforts are contributing to educating a new contributor who will potentially become a maintainer or a reviewer down the line. But if your feedback on pull requests is just being absorbed by a machine and not going towards mentoring a potential future maintainer, it becomes much harder to justify spending your free time on pull request review. And this is where the bulk of it is. With tools like Cloud being available, it seems like most people are using these tools to create codes that drives features that might be implemented in Godot. Now, the folks at Godot are looking at the idea that if you do create a pull request, it should be genuinely yours so that once there's a feedback, you can actually take that feedback and implement it in something else, not just copy the feedback, put it back on the AI engine and ask it to actually review it, which is now counterintuitive when it has to do with feedback, because it simply just kills the idea of a contributor committing to becoming part of the tool itself. And it affirmed this by saying that it is time for us to recognize that these problems aren't going away, and therefore we need to take steps to reduce the burden on maintainers while ensuring that we still have a pipeline to mentor new contributors to becoming future maintainers. And down here, they've also gone ahead to list a couple of things that they're focusing on, which includes encouraging new contributors to become future maintainers, ensuring all contributions are made by humans who take responsibility for their code and will be able and willing to fix it when needed, as AI cannot take responsibility and they can't trust heavy users of AI to understand their code enough to fix it. Other things they're also focusing on is adding barriers to low effort slops, which unfortunately there's a whole lot of them happening almost every day, and also increasing the incentive to review pull requests, as pull request review is the largest bottleneck in the engine right now. And these are some of the things that they're looking at doing in terms of amending the contribution policy. And part of the amendment would also deal with some other things that include that no autonomous AI agent use of vibe coding is going to be allowed, no use of AI to generate substantial piece of code that will be used in, Godot or potentially any other thing around it, no AI-generated text in human-to-human communication, and all pull requests must be reviewed and approved by a human before merging it with Godot itself. And this is one way of handling AI stuff being integrated into a tool like Godot. Now, we've seen the folks at Blender do a few things in that regard, but the way the folks at Godot are handling this is pretty interesting. Something else that the folks at Godot have actually done recently, which I think a few of you guys may have not seen, is the fact that they've put together the release candidates for Godot 4.7.1. So for those who like to read this up and see how this helps with ensuring a stronger initial development cycle for Godot 4.8, then you can simply come through and see this. Some of the highlights here has to do with several changes and bug fixes, which has to do with animation, the GUI, input, navigation, network, and also rendering. Within the changelog, 27 contributors submitted 41 improvements, and if you're thinking about downloading Godot 4.7, the most stable release, you can actually go ahead and download this right here. And Godot 4.7, which was recently released, does come with a couple of cool features, and this includes HDR output, as this is one of the headliner features, which means the production ready output for desktop platforms is here. There's also the Area Light 3D, as Godot now includes Area Light 3D, as previously game developers and artists only had point light, spotlight, and directional light. Area Light actually simulates light coming from a surface like screens and so on. There's also a better UI animation right now with Godot 4.7, which is pretty nice. Drawable texture 2D is also something that is here, as Godot 4.7 also introduces that feature, allowing textures to be modified directly at runtime, and this definitely opens up a world of possibilities for both drawing apps, destructive textures, terrain editing, and all that stuff. Virtual joystick is also a thing that is here. Godot, just like every other game engine, has an asset browser, and the inbuilt asset browser / asset library has received a visual refresh for usability improvement. So it has been improved, as right now it has a cleaner interface, an improved rating display, and a better page navigation. For XR support is also here for Godot 4.7, and there's a couple of rendering improvements, editor, and other workflows have been polished as well. Alongside that, there are also some very nice cool stuff that you might want to consider taking a look at if you're into Godot, or possibly you're thinking about getting started with it. This is one of the biggest updates that they have now, and it is pretty nice. So from the output all the way to being able to play with meshes, colliders, down to the 3D vertex snapping, which is also available, all these are now here. So it is worth mentioning that stuff are happening both for 2D, 3D, alongside various other aspects of Godot, and this particular release is a huge one. At the same time, if you like to read the vision for the engine that they've also released, you can also come through and see this one, as they've actually put together the vision statement, which is intended to guide Godot Foundation for best practices. For those who like to read the vision for the engine that they've put together, you can also come through and read this right here, as this reinstates the idea of what this particular engine is for, as it's not just a game engine, but an engine that you can use to create both mobile, desktop, 2D, or 3D apps. So this is it. For those who like to see all of this, or possibly you like to read up on all of these, links to this is going to be in the description, so do well to check it out. Tell me what you guys think about this one in the comment section, and until I see you guys in the next one, peace.